Siguro po, honestly, I think hindi ko po alam kung meron po ba ako dapat ginawang, um, different. Pero, um, babalik pa rin po ako dun sa pagre-research pa rin kasi, when I was new here and when I was trying to apply for jobs in Australia kasi when we started po, yung husband ko lang po yung may work and I tried to be a stay-at-home mom. And I thought just because I had a degree in the Philippines, meron po akong job experience sa Philippines, akala ko smooth and seamless lang yung process. Pero hindi pala siya gano'n kadali. Kasi it doesn't matter kung ano yung natapos mo at the end of the day dito sa Australia or I think anywhere else. What matters is your experience, your skills, what you can bring on the table and sana po nagbasa pa ako dun and sana po I've spoken to a lot more people kung um, paano bang mag-apply ng trabaho, anong trabaho ba yung dapat kong applyan, saan ba ako pupunta, paano ba ako gagawa ng resume. At I mean, nagawa ko din siya slowly but very painfully in the process. Kasi nagkamali ka, gagawa ka ulit. Ganun po siya. So, yun po.
Ito naman po si Miko Santos sa isang episode ng Explain Why. Medyo light po ang ating topic ngayon. So mag-i-interview po tayo. I-interview po natin si I'm Confused from the TikTok kung saan meron po siyang 147 followers. At nagsisimula na rin po sa YouTube na I'm Confused din as well. So ang pangalan po niya is Mommy Rove. So please welcome to the show at naway matutunan niyo po yung pag-uusapan namin kasi pag-uusapan po namin yung kanyang struggle kung paano po siya pumunta dito sa Australia at bakit niya ginagawa itong mga TikTok video, YouTube video para makatulong sa ating fellow Pilipino. Naway mag-enjoy po kayo. Maraming salamat. Mommy Roves, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Rovi. If you follow me on social media, I am the Mommy Roves on Instagram and TikTok. And if you, I don't know if you've heard, but I'm also confused. That is the content that I make on social media, sharing my culture shocks in Australia. Obviously, I got confused when I first moved here, and at the same time, I also share some tips on how to navigate your life or a Filipino's way in to another country like Australia. So that's myself. I am a mom. I have an 8-year-old boy, and I'm married to my husband. I call him Pakundo on my social media, and we are building our life here in Australia.
Why you migrated to Australia other than other country?
Yung pag-migrate po namin sa Australia, it was a blessing. Because it's actually not me who moved to Australia. It was my husband. In 2020, I have to think back of days. I apologize. In 2016, we went here as a tourist. We attended the wedding. Na in love po kami sa country. Well, we fell in love with Australia. It's a very beautiful place. And fortunately for my husband, he works for a Australian company. And after going here for a tour, I fell in love with the country and I told him, baka pwede tayong mag-move sa Australia and may we find a way or can we find a way to move here. And swerte naman because his company basically transferred him from Philippine office to Australia office. So that's why we chose Australia over other countries. US and Canada were also a consideration, but I haven't been there personally. Di pa po ako nakapunta doon, and because nakapunta na po ako ng Australia, and I find na yung weather tolerable, and it was very close proximity to the Philippines compared sa US or Canada. And I think those were the reasons kung bakit po kami nag-decide sa Australia initially.
So ano yung what is your experience initially how's the process and when you came to the Australia, what what do you think? Is that you think it's just easy? What are the experience or challenges?
In terms of yung kasi marami pong ways to get to Australia. So, different people will have their own different challenges. Kami po, napakaswerte po namin kasi yung pag-transfer po namin from Philippines to Australia was relatively easy kasi po meron na pong work yung husband ko and yung company na po niya yung nag-process ng papers, and myself and my son were just dependent. So, dependent lang po kami sa kanila. So yung kumbaga yung paglipat in terms of papers and processing, it was easier po compared to other people because I know other people will apply for student visa, will apply for working visa, permanent resident visa. Kami po, madali yung process. However, pagdating po namin dito, we only have a working visa. In saying that we were temporary residents and naging mahirap kasi marami po kaming mga hindi ma-access na benefits na hindi nakatulad ng sa ibang mga PR and at the same time hindi rin pala ganun ka smooth and easy yung paghanap ng bahay, paghanap ng groceries, pag-transport. So marami po din mga adjustments yung pagdating namin dito. So there are many ways to answer the question, but it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be.
How did you overcome this? So, what?
Yung challenges, siguro po, I always share this to my social media. We owe a lot to our friends who helped us and encouraged us to move to Australia because when we were here for a tour, nag-attend po kami ng wedding. And so basically, we were with friends na naging friends namin from the Philippines. Nauna na silang nag-migrate dito. And sila din po yung nag-encourage sa amin na lumipat. And they also assured us that when we move, they'll be there to help us. So one of the key talaga that helped us overcome our challenges is having genuine and real friends to support us in this country. Wala rin po kaming pamilya dito, wala po kaming kamag-anak sa Sydney. Yung meron po kaming mga kamag-anak na sa ibang state. So basically, the people who helped us assimilate dito sa Sydney ay yung aming mga kaibigan po.
So, what is your important things that you learn from Australia based on your
Yung
experience?
pag-migrate, siguro that's also the reason why I started my TikTok page, yung I'm Confused. Kasi looking back, sana nagbasa pa ako. Sana nagtanong-tanong pa ako. I had an assumption kasi dahil lilipat lang naman parang ang naisip ko lang noon, lilipat lang naman ng work ang husband ko. Lilipat lang ng ibang bansa. Para lang kaming lumipat from Manila to Bulacan. Parang ganun lang yung nasa isip ko eh. So madali lang siguro makahanap ng bahay doon. May friends naman kami. Pero pag tungtong namin, iba siya. Number one, iba yung kultura dito. Iba yung processes dito. Hindi katulad sa Philippines. Kumbaga, marami tayong support. Pag may kakilala tayo dito, matutulungan tayo dito. Marami pong ganon. So, looking back, sana nagbasa-basa pa talaga ako. Nag-research pa ako. And I should have asked more people siguro kung ano ba dapat yung gawin.
Thank you for that. Let's go back to I'm Confused.
Apo.
How did you created it? Is this an accident? So now you have 100K plus follower in TikTok. Did you realize it's gonna be like that big or?
Hindi po. So in terms of content creation, sa Philippines pa lang naman po, mahilig na po akong mag-vlog. So nagba-vlog na po ako, nagsusulat po ako many years ago on the internet. So kumbaga kahit papaano, I've always had writing as a hobby. And during that time, nag-Instagram na tayo. But I wasn't that big. If I could say. When I moved to Australia, I also created the Mommy Rove. So the explanation of that is roves is actually synonymous to travel. So roving, so rove. So the mommy travels, and I really wanted to share yung aking pag-migrate sa Australia. So that was the initial concept of my Instagram. It gained traction for a little bit, pero kumbaga parang nag-skyrocket po siya noong 2020 during the pandemic kasi bigla ko lang pong naisip gumawa ng TikTok just like all the other people during the pandemic. Na nag-open ng TikTok, siguro yung iba, initially lahat tayo nagsayaw, nag-follow ng trend, but for me, naisip ko lang bigla is, why not share yung mga confusing moments ko dito sa Australia, especially when it comes to their language. They speak English, but they have their own slangs. And I always, lagi po talaga akong nalilito. And I just randomly started sharing that on TikTok. And yun na. The rest is, ito na tayo ngayon.
So, what now is the mission of I'm Confused for
So,
you now?
the mission is still the same. Initially, I started this mainly to entertain. So, andun pa rin naman yun para makapagpasaya po tayo ng tao. But the core of it is to actually share to you an experience of a migrant, a Filipino migrant who, is trying to understand her way into the new country, and at the same time, confused ka. So, you share that information so that when someone comes in, tapos nakarinig siya ng, oh, please bring your thongs. Hindi sila magdadala ng panty, pero magdadala sila ng tsinelas. So, ganun siya. So, para kapag din may nagtanong sa office, sasabihin, oh, how you going? Wag mong sagutin, like, I'm going to the somewhere, but you say, I'm fine, thank you. So, parang ganon. So, ganon pa din siya. Siguro ang malaking difference na lang ngayon is I'm trying to improve the content, not just to focus on Australian slangs. Doon po kasi ako nag-start. So, ngayon, pati yung mga tips, ano ba yung dapat gawin pag malamig, ano ba yung dapat gawin pag mainit. So, palaging may humor pa din, syempre. Hindi mawawala talaga yun.
So what are the reception ng mga viewers on your social media posts and content now?
It's always a mix po. Initially, it was very funny. Syempre nung una nakakatawa, masaya, maraming natutuwa. Pero I would admit marami rin pong hindi natutuwa. Ang maraming hindi natutuwa kasi at the end of the day, hindi mo talaga po mapiplease yung lahat. Kasi part of the comedy that I did in the past was trying to kumbaga depict kasi po hindi po ako marunong mag-Aussie accent. So ginawa ko lang just to kind of change, just to show contrast, Aussie accent, Filipino accent, and some people don't like that. I improve my content. Some people still don't like that. So, kahit mo anong gawin ko, meron po talagang may ayaw. But at the end of the day, every time I receive a message na nakapunta na po ako ng Australia, andito na po ako, thank you po sa videos nyo, ang dami ko pong natutunan. Yun po talaga yung what keeps me going. So, I may hear some negative comments, but as long as I'm helping one person, that's all that matters po.
Thank you for that. So, what now? What is the future of Mommy Roves? And I'm confused.
To be honest, I'm taking it slow, one step at a time. Syempre, as a person who tries to create content online, syempre, one of the things na sana mangyari sa atin ay kahit papano magkaroon tayo ng income sa social media. We're slowly getting there. But at the end of the day, gusto ko po talagang makabuild ng community, yung community of people of helping each other. I'm starting to create a YouTube channel na rin po to go more in-depth sa mga topics na dinidiscuss ko sa TikTok kasi minsan po hindi po kasya sa 1 minute. Yun po, yung continue to be a resource po. Not just to Australia but to every Filipino everywhere. Kasi lahat naman tayo kahit papano, whether we live in Australia, US, Philippines, kahit papano magkaka-relate pa rin tayo sa isa't isa.
Thank you. So last question, Mommy Robes, is what would you done differently
In terms of ano po, sa
when
content
you
or sa buhay po sa
sa buhay,
Australia?
sa buhay in Australia?
Um, Siguro po, honestly, I think hindi ko po alam kung meron po ba ako dapat ginawang um, different. Pero um, babalik pa rin po ako dun sa pagre-research pa rin. Kasi when I was new here and when I was trying to apply for jobs in Australia, kasi when we started po, yung husband ko lang po yung may work and I tried to be a stay-at-home mom. And I thought just because I had a degree in the Philippines, meron po akong job experience sa Philippines, akala ko smooth and seamless lang yung process. Pero hindi pala siya ganun kadali. Kasi it doesn't matter kung ano yung natapos mo at the end of the day dito sa Australia or I think anywhere else. What matters is your experience, your skills, what you can bring on the table. And sana po nagbasa pa ako doon. And sana po I've spoken to a lot more people kung um, paano bang mag-apply ng trabaho, anong trabaho ba yung dapat kong applyan, saan ba ako pupunta, paano ba ako gagawa ng resume. At I mean, nagawa ko din siya slowly but very painfully in the process. Kasi nagkamali ka, gagawa ka ulit. Ganun po siya. So, yun po.
So I'm confused. What gonna be your plan in the future
Yung sa social media po.
sa social media?
Oo, darang nasagot ko na po siya kanina. So, we're trying to grow on Instagram and on TikTok. And ngayon po, nag-start na po ako ng YouTube channel. Hopefully, magkaroon ng time. Mahirap lang pong gumawa. Yung magkaroon po ako ng mas maraming platforms po sana. And yun po. Yun po yung aking plans for now. And it might change in the next few months, few years, but for now my focus is improving my content and making sure that it can reach to a lot more people po.
So, last question talaga.
Okay lang po. We have the whole day.
So, what is your advice to Filipino who is thinking of coming in Australia? So, there's a lot of challenges. It's not easy. As
Apo.
a migrant as well, what is your advice to them?
Marami pong advice. Ang first advice ko po is think really hard kung anong pathway yung gagawin niya dito sa Australia. Kasi there are a million of not a million, pero there are a number of different pathways to go through. And make sure lang na yung pipiliin niyo pong pathway will be the best for you. You can start as a student or go through an agency, be on a working visa, or go through the skilled migrant pathway wherein pagdating nyo dito, PR na kayo. That will be my first advice is to figure out what type of visa will you be applying for. Second is prepare for the funds. Number one, it's really important na meron tayong proper funds to start our life here kasi another shock siguro talaga is the rental income, yung rental fees po talaga natin dito. It will eat up a lot of your budget. So if you're coming here and you're just thinking na makikishare na lang ako sa mga kung sino man ang makilala ko, it might be difficult. So that's my second advice. And number 3, my third advice is find a good network of support because no matter how much money you have in the bank, no matter what visa you have, kung wala kang support dito na magpagkakatiwalaan mo, mahirap din talaga because the right people will put you to the right direction, introduce you to the right people, bring you to right opportunities for you, and that will be very, very important para maging matibasay ang buhay sa Australia. Yun po. So kahit anumang bansa. And don't be afraid to ask for help. I mean, don't be shy. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It is okay to ask for help. But but be careful of who we trust as well. So medyo contradicting, but those are my key advices po.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you, maraming salamat po sa panonood. Don't forget to click the bell button para hindi po nyo ma-miss yung bawat episode po ng Explain Why. At sa susunod na episode po, pag-uusapan natin yung mga iba-ibang topic o issue na naranasan ng mga Pilipino sa overseas o ano yung mga nangyayari sa ating bansa. So, maraming salamat po sa panonood at see you again sa susunod na episode. See ya.